Hello, new video. Today we're gonna take a look at another legendary team for the Open Master League. Today we're going to have a different team because some people were complaining, oh, why did you not use Hisuian Everluck? Hisuian Everluck is the best non-legendary Pokemon, why didn't you use it last time around? Honestly, for me, I just didn't see a team that would really work around it. But today we're going to have a team with the Gyarados, which I feel like is a little bit of a risky one as well, but we see already one of those matchups why I feel like Gyarados has actually a lot more play nowadays in the current meta, which is just the coverage of Crunch. Crunch is going to do a ton of damage against all of those Necrozmas, and as you're gonna see here already, it is going to be quite decent. Speaking of being quite decent, this team actually worked. I went 10-5 total with this team, but from the 5 losses I had, at least like 1 or 2 I could have been able to win if I played a little bit better. And also a lot of them, I think out of like the 4 of them were like insanely close losses. So at the end of the day, this team has a ton of potential and this team actually kind of works out well. So I was wrong. The last video I was like saying it's very unlikely that you can find a team that could climb in the Open Master League, and I think this team definitely has the potential towards it. Is it the same or is it like as good as really legendary teams? No, it's not. Like, it's definitely not. While I had great results with it, it was very difficult to play. Like, basically, you can have the same results with, like, full legendary teams, but you have to be definitely a little bit more advanced in how you play the teams. One big issue for this team as well is going to be the matchup against Primarina, especially the Waterfall variant of this Pokemon is going to be able to destroy the entire team. Like you literally see it here right now. We have Elite that's very weak against that. We have the Gyarados, and we're also going to have the Dragonite, which, especially after the community day at the end of the month, it's going to be a little bit more of a problem than it is right now. And so, yeah, it is what it is. We want to be able to just go ahead and go for the Awkward Tail. Awkward Tail is going to be able to do a ton of damage against the opponent. Now, we are going to try our best. We are going to try to go back into our Dragonite, actually, because we resist the fast move, but it is not going to help us out at all. This can still go for another charge move. Now, we have a switch advantage lost. We're going to have one shield advantage lost there as well. And we're going to have the Yveltal coming in against us. And I am basically at this point kind of convinced that this game is over. I can just forfeit. This game there's nothing I can do really. That's at least what I think here right now. But at the end of the day, we can still try our best. In comes here the opponent's Necrozma. Necrozma is going to get the attack drop onto it as well. We will see the Iron Head coming through from it, which I only realized, no, I have never seen Iron Head on this Pokemon. That is ridiculous. Like, what are the chances to see that? Like, honestly, like Dark Pulse is called, is usually the preferred move, but I think they're actually identical, if I'm not wrong. I might be wrong, actually. But, so maybe Iron Head is the better coverage. Giving you coverage against Pokemon like the Fairy types is quite an interesting play, I have to say. You know what's also an interesting play? Letting everything go through here and try to farm them all the way down, because it's definitely the play that's going to win me the battle. What I have to say as well, with going 10-5, I'm currently at pretty average elo range. I wouldn't say low elo range. Low elo range is like somewhere below 2000 or something. I'm like around 2400 and 2500. We're not close to the legend elo range. This team could perform differently in Legend tier elo range, but of course I'm not there, and no, I didn't tank down. There were a lot of videos recently where I tried to play some spice, or I literally played with spice, and of course those are going to drop my elo range. Like, that was something that a lot of people were asking recently. Did you just like drop on purpose or something like this? But if you think about it, I recently played Lucario on the Master League. I played the new Shadow Pokemon. I literally played 3 very weird Shadow Pokemon. One of them was actually decent, but like most of them were not really as ideal. And so like we are playing some fun stuff right now. It's the end of the season anyway, and it's like metas where you don't really like, where it's difficult to climb, especially as an average player. So we're just having fun, and that's why my elo range is a little bit lower. But I can definitely assure you, moving on for the next week, we're going to have the Great League again, and with the Great League coming up, I definitely going to try hard a little bit more. Anyway, the opponent is going to have a Zacian here, going to be a little bit of a trickier matchup, as Icy Wind is coming through, is going to be able to get the shield from the opponent. We are going to try to go ahead and go for another one, but they swap onto the hole, and sadly, this is going to be a loss, as we are not going to be able to go for 2 superpowers against the opponent. We had to try to farm them down, didn't work out. Still a good game to the opponent, and we can just move on to the next opponent now. So let's see what they are going to have. We're going to have Everluck against the Palkia. How do you want to play this matchup? And that's kind of what I want to talk about as well. You have to play this not straightforward. You never really can play this team straightforward because it is a difference to play like non-legendary Pokemon and legendary Pokemon. Doesn't mean like that you're generally gonna lose straight away because you're running non-legendary. As you see here, like 10 and 5 is a good rate, especially against the Pokemon we're encountering here. But you kind of have to really try your best to get the advantage that you really want to get. Because here, for example, we were able to catch the move in the beginning, allowing us to get, instead of super effective damage, resisted damage, but also keeping the energy here. We can go for the full farm down now as well, which is going to allow us to get some energy back. And I'm gonna very likely try to catch the move again eventually. Here, I'd want to catch, but I was a little bit too late. Kind of forgot that the opponent didn't go straight for the charge move, I went for like one more extra, so that was on me, but I can still keep the energy, and you kind of always have to maneuver around your Pokemon. You cannot just play straightforward and be like, yeah, I'm just going to stay in this Pokemon, just play the matchup out and it's going to be fine. That is just not the case. It's just not how this team kind of works. Here, I had to predict what they have in the back. I was predicting that they're going to have the Landorus in the back, but they actually had the Ho-Oh in the back, which is also totally fine. We are going to be able to go ahead and go for the Rock Slide, getting a ton of damage onto them, and now I can just go for the Icy Wind spam. Icy Wind is going to allow us to drop the opponent's attack, which is great for the Incinerate damage, which is definitely going to add up eventually there, like after a while. Rock Slide coming back in here, going to do a ton of damage against them, knocking them out, and at this point, the opponent was like, yeah, I had enough, this game is over, I don't really want to play anymore, and they just decided to forfeit. They literally closed the app here apparently, because they knew the game was over, and so, get wrecked there, and good game to the next, let's go to the next opponent now. We're going to encounter here the Togekiss. Togekiss, a Pokemon that is great for our lead, but not so great for our backline, and so we kind of have to keep our lead alive. But I also need to try to catch a move here. So can we catch the move? We cannot, we were a little bit too late, and so we have to use a shield, and that is not ideal. That's the thing as well. It is just quite difficult. You have to kind of try to catch every single move onto a certain Pokemon in order to have like a good advantage. And so here we're going to try to now catch the move, which this time around works out well for me. And now double resist, not double, like it's a single resisted Iron Head that is double debuffed. That's going to land against the Gyarados doing no damage at all. And that's going to be kind of the way moving forward with this team as well. You just really have to try to catch any kind of move that you can catch in order to get like this kind of advantage. We have a double Flyer line, we have a double Dragon Breath line here as well, so you have an ABB style line with this team. So you kind of want to swap out and leave your lead alive, because there are a lot of Pokemon like the Togekiss where you need your lead for. Anyway, speaking of needing my lead, we're going to use a shield here onto the Ancient Power, as they're going to reveal their final Pokemon being the Yveltal. And I'm thinking there is quite a lot of potential here of winning this battle, especially after they use no shield on this one. This allows me to go for another Icy Wind, which is definitely going to force a shield from the opponent, but also they had now -2 attack, which means Dragonite is going to be able to easily take 2 of the opponent's hits, and only 2 is going to be where they're going to get to anyway, and as you're going to see, the opponent just decides to forfeit straight away afterwards. Again, same lead, again, same Pokemon. What we kind of want to do is, we kind of want to go for 6 fast moves, swap out, catch the Aqua Tail onto our Gyarados, have a resisted hit here instead of a super effective hit, and keep the energy on our lead just in case we need it later on. Against the opponent's Dialga, of course, going straight for the Crunch is the way to go. Trying to get the debuff would be really ideal here as well, which you are not going to be able to do, but we will be able to still reach another charge move, and this might force a shield from the opponent, thinking this might be just the Crunch, and yes, it does work out well for us, as we can go back into the Everluck here, or into the Dragonite. Actually, I decided to go into the Dragonite, hoping I can farm them down before they can go for 2 Iron Heads. First Iron Head coming through. Can we go for the full farm down here? We cannot, so that was a little bit of a silly play, as I had a charge move stored onto my Everluck, which would have been a little bit better. Raw of Time coming through. Still, with the energy that we have here, we should have definitely some potential. And I make a huge mistake here. I overfarmed way too much on my Dragonite. If I swapped out earlier, I actually had a chance, but now what I allowed the opponent to get to is to get to the Stone Edge, and that is a problem. That is a ginormous problem, actually. So if I swapped out a little bit earlier, went for the Ice Wind, the opponent swaps out straight away, trying to punish my swap in there, I would have been fine. I would have been guaranteed fine. But like this, sadly, they're going to have the Stone Edge stored. They win CMP tie. My Dragonite is already a little bit low. I can get them here a little bit low as well, but it doesn't really help me. And so this was one of the battles which we're going to lose here. Spoiler alert, not really crazy spoiler, because we know that the energy on the opponent is going to be enough. Yeah, I would have not went for the charge move anymore anyway if I didn't need to, but I had to kind of try to over predict. But yeah, as you're gonna see here, there's no way of winning this battle. But again, if we played a little bit differently, we might have had a chance of winning this one. We're going to have the Rayquaza here in the lead. That is going to be a very favorable lead for our Everluck. We can actually let the move go through here. It's going to be fine. As long as they don't have like 2 fairy type Pokemon in the back, we should be kind of okay here. Yeah, first fairy type Pokemon coming in. That is not ideal, but yeah, Rayquaza double fairy. I don't know, like, what do you do against steel type Pokemon, especially in the current meta? I think that is not a team that you can run, especially like with the Necrozma Duskmane form. It is just a little bit tricky to run this kind of style. Luckily, they are running Close Combat and Play Rough, which definitely helps us out quite a bit in this matchup, because now we are going to be able to hit another charge move against them. We have to let the move go through. There's no real way for me to win this matchup, but actually, we actually can still survive this one, which is mad. And so we can get to another Awkward Tail and knock out the opponents. Yeah, Zacian I want to say, but they actually decide to keep this one around. Allow me to go back into my Everluck and get a Rock Slide against the opponents. Yeah, Rayquaza, this doesn't make sense to go for Rock Slide. Please go for Icy Wind. Like, if they use a shield, this would be definitely a big mistake. Here, in this case, it didn't matter at all because I didn't use a shield. But if they would have used a shield, I would have lost at that point already. Anyway, we see here in the back another fairy type, and we are, I think, is still debuffed onto our Pokemon. I'm not too sure. No, actually not debuffed. It's just the damage that we do, which is just a little bit small. But what you're gonna try to do here is you're gonna try to take the opponent's Moonblast. We can still survive this one. In comes Zacian. They go for a charge move, and that is fine for me. I still have some shields. Wild Charge coming through, allowing us to put them into like farm down range with that as well, and we can just go for the Icy Wind here. Gonna do around half of the opponent's health, and we going to be able, thanks to the Ice Wind, to survive like all of those house moves from the opponent. Geomancy barely does any damage. I think the same amount of damage as the move Snarl does. And so, as you're gonna see here, we're gonna be able to still outspeed them and win them with 2 shields with a non-legendary team against a full legendary team. Next opponent, again, my nemesis, we're going to have the Primarina. Primarina is going to be one of those Pokemon that is just going to be very tricky for this team, and definitely going to make it a little bit more difficult to play this team in the future. But also, Primarina going to open up some other possibilities to play the Open Master League with Charm users, I guess. Having Primarina say swap, having the Pokemon in the back being like the Togekiss, and then in the lead, I don't know, some kind of water type like Gyarados would work out quite well. Or, I don't know, like something like this. Maybe even the Everluck would work out quite well. So, yeah. Depends kind of on what it's going to be, but like there's definitely a lot of potential to have a no-legendary team around Primarina in the Open Master League again, so definitely play the Community Day for this Pokemon. Here again we're going to bait because everybody knows that Crunch is on Gyarados, so like there's no real reason to go ahead and go for an Awkward Tail if they know that Crunch would be double super effective against them as well. Moongeist Beam coming through, allowing us to now go ahead and go for a Crunch. Hopefully they let the move go through, would allow us to knock them out. Let's find out. They decide to use the shield, which is fine. But we're gonna get the defense drop onto them. Now we're gonna go down for sure, which is not ideal. Moongeist Beam again. And we can swap into our Dragonite, trying to go for the full farm down. Can we do it? We cannot, but what we can do is go for the catch. Again, as said before, catching moves is so important on this team. In comes the Palkia from the opponent. We can hit them with a super effective Dragon Claw, getting them low, getting the farm down, winning this battle now as they have nothing to do against me. Second to last battle, we're going to encounter Dialga in the lead. Horrible lead for us again, kinda. They win this in a 0 to, like, basically where they force us to use 2 shields. They win this in the 0 and in the 1 shield scenario, no matter what we are going to do here. So for them, that is a great spot to be in. Now Ironhead is coming through, is going to get shielded by me, of course. Our play again is to try to catch an Ironhead eventually. But because our backend can also struggle against Dialga, we have to be careful not giving it too much play. And so I can catch that move here onto our Gyarados, but still, we're gonna end up here with a shield disadvantage and switch disadvantage. And that can be quite awkward. At least we have the advantage of Pokemon that we still have, and this can be quite helpful, especially against something like the Necrozma, which is going to let the move go through here, which is a huge mistake by the opponent, allowing us to get a ton of free damage in. There you go for the Dark Pulse, are not enough to knock us out, as well as we can go for the Awkward Tail to get the KO against the opponent. This is going to not actually get the KO, but what we can do is we can go for the Dragon Breath down, and the opponent had enough. Final battle for today, we're going to have the Dialga here. By the way, the battles that I saw today were my first and my second set. My third set were quite unfortunate games in there, so like those games were quite unfortunate in terms of the outcome. Would have had a lot of games they could have won, but yeah, again, total 10-5 with this team, 5-0 in my second set with this team as well, which is kind of cool. And so you're going to see the opponent having to take an icy wind. We can try to catch the move again, which does not work out. They swap out, and it is going to be not a great day now. Can we still come back from this one? Well, let's find out. We're going to use a shield onto the Brave Bird, because now Awkward Tail is going to definitely get the KO against them, which without the Brave Bird debuff, it would not be the case. And so here we're going to try to go for another Awkward Tail and have to try to go for another Awkward Tail afterwards as well. Awkward Tail gonna get shielded, and let's see what the opponent is gonna do next. It's going to be the Brave Bird coming through. We can try to go ahead and go into our Dragonite now to go for the full foul now, which is going to work out. But we have to remember there is some energy still lurking on the Dialga, and we can catch the move onto the Hisuian Everluck, which is going to be that Iron Head being super effective. They're going to have the Palkia in the back, but we can go for a double Dragon Claw, and this is going to be important. Double Dragon Claw ensures the KO against the opponent, and also the Dialga should be low enough that we can still win this battle. And so yes, you can actually go positive with a non-legendary team in the Open Master League. Granted, we are a little bit low in elo here right now, but still, this team worked out super well for me. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.